Hello GutSquad, this is Cecily as always. Today we are going to be tackling Ostomy Odor and what you can kind of do to stop it. So the first thing to talk about with Ostomy Odor is that it's pretty uncommon, especially in my life. I can really only speak for me, but I know that I don't really have a lot of Ostomy Odor. I don't find myself in occasions typically where I'm like, ooh, something smells and it's me. So that's not really a huge concern in my life, and a lot of the ostomates I've talked to also say that odor is kind of an uncommon thing in their lives, so don't worry too much. It's not like you're going to smell every day if you're looking at getting an ostomy, or if you have a family member that's an ostomate or looking at getting an ostomy. It's not scary, and it's a big myth that people think that all ostomies smell badly. They really don't. But there are a few things that an ostomate can keep in mind about odor, diet, and maybe what to do about that odor when it arises. So the first thing to talk about is diet. I find that typically when I have a day that's a little smellier than others, I'm like, what did I eat that day that made me a little bit stinkier? And typically it does come back to me in what I put in my mouth. So the first things that I could just read off the list, pretty common knowledge that these cause some increased gas, some increased odor. Those would be beans, fish, broccoli, and other cruciferous vegetables like cabbage and Brussels sprouts. You've also got fatty meats on that list, in addition to cheese, eggs, onions, and asparagus is another one that's a big one. So those are just some of the ones off the top of my head that I can think of, but I'm sure that there are others. If there are that really affect you, please leave them in the comments. I would love to hear it. The next thing to talk about is what can you do about ostomy odor when it hits you? And that's a very good question. There are a few things that I could recommend to you guys that I've used myself and have had a lot of success with. The absolute best thing that I can recommend is actually really commonly used in the ostomy community, and is also produced by almost every ostomy bag manufacturer that I can think of. I know Hollister has one, I know Convatec has one, and Coloplast definitely has one. These are lubricating deodorants. Lubricating deodorants are amazing. Not only do they make your bag and your output smell better, but if you're having a really thick day, have you ever had days where your stool output is so thick that it's kind of hard to get out of the bag actually? This is especially common in colostomates because their stool is typically much more formed than people like me who have ileostomies. The lubricating deodorant does just what it says. It lubricates the stool, so it's a little bit easier for it to slip out of your bag. The next thing to talk about with this lubricating deodorant is that you can actually have travel size cases or travel size packets. I get these from Hollister. These are the Adapt portable lubricating deodorant pouches. These are really nice. I usually have at least one or two in my purse at all times, just in case I'm having a really stinky day and I don't want to have to run home and get my big old bottle from Coloplast. I just have these cute little Adapt packets and I keep them in my purse. It's a very convenient thing to do. The next recommendation that I have is to actually use Tic Tacs. So this I found out when I was having a really smelly day. I was in the bathroom at school and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have any lubricating deodorants. So I had a box of Tic Tacs in my bag and I was like, this could work. So I'll actually show you guys how to use these, but basically you just slip them into the bottom of your pouch and voila, you have your very own deodorant. So I will show that right here. So I just want to give you guys a quick demo of how I use the Tic Tac method. So you open the bottom of your pouch like so. See, you get the flap open, good. Pinch it open like that, and then just pour some Tic Tacs in the bottom. There we go. I usually use about like 3 or 4. Then you close up, see the Tic Tacs in there, and voila, you have a little DIY homemade deodorant in your pocket at all times. So yeah, you can already start to see them dissolving in there, and they're gonna make my stool smell less like stool and more like peppermint. The last recommendation I have for you guys is that a lot of times your stool output will be a little bit smellier when you have more gas than usual, when you're a little bit more gassy than usual. That's when I tend to have the majority of my odor, is when I'm having a very gassy day. I actually use something called Simethicone. Simethicone or Phazyme. This is one of the biggest brands of Simethicone that you can buy over the counter from things like CVS and Walgreens. Please guys, consult your doctor before you add any new medications, even if they're over the counter, to your daily regimen. I like to use these every single day. Phazyme really helps me reduce gas, and it also tends as a result to make my ostomy output just a little less stinky. So yeah, those are the best recommendations I have. Now I'm sure over your years of having an ostomy, you guys have come up with amazing ideas for eliminating odor yourselves. I know some people use essential oils in their bags. They try to lubricate their bags before they even put them on with essential oils. I think that's an amazing idea, but I want to hear all about your ideas in the comments below, or if you've tried any of these things like the Tic Tacs that I mentioned. I know this is like kind of a weird idea, but I think it works really, really well actually. I just would love to hear from you guys. And as always, I'm hoping that everyone is staying safe and healthy and at home as much as possible right now. My thoughts are with you, GutSquad. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye guys!